on your side. WBRC Fox 6 News starts with breaking news.
That breaking news results coming into our newsroom as we speak from primary elections across the state.
Yes, that's right. Let's start with the historic election taking place in Alabama's new 2nd Congressional District. That's the district that was redrawn after a lengthy court battle over the fair representation of Alabama's black voting population in the state's congressional map.
Right now on the Channel 3 News at 11, Vermont votes. Nikki Haley sees her 2nd primary win here in the Green Mountain State. Political analysis of the hotly contested presidential primary election for the Republican Party. Plus, the Queen City makes history. Burlington residents elect progressive Emma Mulvaney-Stanek as the city's first woman mayor.
It was a soggy town meeting day, and it's going to get even soggier after today. I'll have your Max Advantage forecast coming up.
Live from Vermont's own WCAX, the Channel 3 News at 11 starts now.
History made in Burlington tonight with the first woman mayor and a return to power for the Progressive Party. Thanks.
Live, local, late breaking.
Now at 11 town meeting day, you voted and the results are in.
From the presidential primary to school budgets and mayoral elections are following many races across Vermont.
Burlington has a new mayor. We have live team coverage with reaction from the winner and how the city decided their next leader.
The property tax is a big one.
And voters facing a steep tax increase, the tough decision they faced while voting on school budgets.
We've got more rain on the way for tomorrow, heavy at times, but there is some snow in the forecast. We'll show you when it may accumulate.
NBC 5 News at 11 starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight at 11 o'clock. I'm Brian Colleran.
And I'm Liz Strappa. Millions of people headed to the polls across 15 states and 1 territory today, casting their ballots on the biggest day of the presidential primaries.
And an even bigger day for Vermont voters weighing in on local elections for town meeting day.
We have...
From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fairbanks Evening News.
Hello and welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. Today is March 5th. I'm Skylar Evans. Thank you for joining us. We're coming to you at an earlier time tonight in order to have Super Tuesday coverage by NBC News. Thank you all for joining us at 5.
Now at 10, the ballots are being counted. We have results from major races, including the presidential primary.
We also are tracking several statewide races. I'll have an update coming up.
And there are races across Region 8 that could impact you, what several counties are reporting. Election results are pouring in tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Diana Davis.
And I'm Macy Davis. We have team coverage tonight as those results come pouring in.
Live, local, late breaking. This is 4029 News at 10.
Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Allison Wise.
And I'm Brendan Evans. It's Super Tuesday, the day where 15 states, including Arkansas and Oklahoma, have primaries. Now, the polls have been closed for hours now, and we are tabulating those results for you, bring them to you tonight.
We have team coverage across Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley with everything you need. First, we'll get to the presidential primary races in Arkansas and Oklahoma.
So in Arkansas, the AP has called it Donald Trump has won over Nikki Haley. Asa Hutchinson coming in with 3% of the vote, but Donald Trump with the check mark there. He takes the natural state. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party, the AP calling it as for President Joe Biden, the projected winner with more than 90% in that one, the check mark for him.
Live from KBAK CBS in Bakersfield, this is Eyewitness News at 6.
First at 6, it is Super Tuesday, when 15 states and 1 U.S. territory have their primary elections, including Kern County. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rochelle Murcia.
And I'm Michael Patterson. From presidents to assembly members and a Bakersfield mayor. On this Super Tuesday, there's a lot to vote for on those ballots.
The spirit of the North Coast. This is Redwood News at 6.
Rain poured down across the region on this Super Tuesday. So far, our area has received more than 1 inch of rain, and it's still coming down. But the downpours of rain today didn't stop people from going to the polls on Election Day. Good evening. I'm Ross Rowley. Welcome to Redwood News at 6. Eric is working on our election coverage for the 11 p.m. newscast.
Joe Biden and Donald Trump racking up Super Tuesday wins.
There's never been anything so conclusive.
I'll defeat Donald Trump fair and square.
A rematch likely in November.
I think Joe Biden has done a fine job as president overall, but I don't think he should be in the office again.
As the two move closer to securing their party's nominations.
Tonight, key takeaways from election night in Colorado.
Glad you're with us on this election night. I'm Shannon Ogden.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. Votes are being tallied tonight after voters in dozens of states took to the polls, casting their ballots on Super Tuesday.
That's right. Now, see, these are still unofficial results for Colorado's Republican primary today. Donald Trump, way out in the lead, has held on to it all night long, 63%. In second place here, Nikki Haley with 33%.
In the state's Democratic race, Joe Biden receiving 84% of the vote. We have election night team coverage with Colette Bordelon at Denver Elections Division covering non-committed Democratic voters.
It is Super Tuesday for Colorado and 15 other states, and Donald Trump is a step closer to securing the Republican nomination.
Both he and President Joe Biden are closing in on the delegates that they need. Let's take a look at the Republican race for president in Colorado. Here are those latest numbers for you. Donald Trump with a big win over Nikki Haley. Those votes will count now that the Supreme Court has weighed in on the move to keep him from the ballot there. And for the Democrats in Colorado, no surprise here. President Joe Biden gets the win here with 84% of the vote. Trump celebrated
States voicing their choice. We'll have the latest Super Tuesday results and reaction.
Then a car riddled with bullets in Worcester. 2 females shot inside that SUV. Police tonight trying to track down whoever pulled the trigger.
On just one station, a Brockton elementary school student hit by a car just moments after getting off the bus.
And you've got to see it, but you still might not believe it.
Part of us knew that there was no way it could be a gray whale.
The supersized sight off the coast of Nantucket that's puzzling marine experts. 7 News at 10 starts now.
First at 10, we have Super Tuesday coverage. Voters here in Massachusetts voicing their choice, hitting the polls to cast their votes in the presidential primary. The numbers are pouring into our newsroom. You can see the results of every race scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump celebrating several victories already tonight. That includes Massachusetts, where President Biden is the projected winner on the Democratic side. Let's look at the numbers right now. The president getting 82% of the votes.
And on the Republican side, former President Trump is the projected winner in the Massachusetts. Associated Press calling the race for the GOP frontrunner. And here's a look at the tally on that side. Former
Super Tuesday winners are in.
Donald Trump's win here and the one state where Nikki Haley is making it close.
The message from President Biden's supporters after seeing the results.
They filled up,
I'm not coming here again.
then broke down. A bunch of drivers fuming at a local gas station.
Right now, as we come on the air at 11, Commitment 2024, the results are in Massachusetts. Here are the primary winners. Each race called less than an hour after the polls closed. President Biden, former President Donald Trump will get Massachusetts delegates. Good evening, everyone. I'm Ed Hardy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maria Stefano. So those election results, you've been seeing them rolling in all night long. Let's get you up to speed on the Massachusetts Republican primary. Former President Donald Trump is projected to win. Right now, he's got about 61% of the vote.
WUSA 9 News at 11 begins with breaking news in this final hour of Super Tuesday. I'm Leslie Foster, and within the last minute, we just got more primary results from Virginia. But this is more than about numbers. It's about what matters to you. So Katie Lusso is in Arlington with Virginia Republicans. It's been 20 years since their party's candidate won Virginia. Is this the year? Our Adam Longo is at the touchscreen, keeping tabs on those results. Still coming into us. And in just a few minutes, the chief will be here to time out some showers you'll need to plan for tomorrow. But first, let's begin with the fight for the White House. We just checked with election officers, and not every vote in Virginia has been counted. But Enough of them have, such that Associated Press is now projecting Donald Trump will win the Republican primary there, and President Joe Biden will win the Democratic primary. That's what we expected. But if you break this down, there are some surprises. Adam Longo is finding quite a bit of them. Diving into Virginia's primary county by county ads, we found some really interesting things to talk about in the newsroom.
Leslie, indeed, we did. Good evening.
Right now at 11, it's the biggest night of this year's primary elections. The results are in for Super Tuesday. 7 News has local team coverage breaking down what we're seeing in Virginia.
On fog alert tonight and tomorrow morning. And I'm also tracking rain. I'll have the timing.
D.C. Council passes its biggest crime bill yet. How this legislation aims to better protect you. And tonight we're hearing from the only member who didn't vote yes. 7 News at 11 starts now. And as you heard on ABC News coverage, the surprise of the night coming in about a half hour ago, Nikki Haley winning Vermont's GOP primary. Despite that win, though, Super Tuesday is proving the race for the nominations in both parties is as clear as ever. Thank you for staying with 7 News. I'm Scott Thuman.
And I'm Dave Lucas, in tonight for Michelle Marsh. Virginia, one of those states voting today. 7 News has team coverage tonight. John Roberts is at the alert desk. Christian Flores reporting from Virginia polling places.
As the
On tonight's Voice of the Voter coverage on News Center Maine.
I try to vote in every election.
The results are in. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are the projected winners in Maine's primaries.
I suspect it may be because there is some consensus around who the front runners are.
Plus, election officials say a lower than expected number of Mainers turned out to the polls today, what that could mean for November.
I think it was unfortunate for Nikki Haley. She didn't reach out to those independents.
And our analysts share their takes on how the race has played out and what issues really matter to voters. This is Election Night on News Center Maine at 11. Super Tuesday has come to an end. All across the country, votes are being tallied up and projected winners are being declared. Hey there, everyone. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Zach Blanchard. There's still some
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Marlia Clipston. It's Super Tuesday. Mainers across the state went to the polls today to cast their vote in the presidential primary. President Joe Biden is projected to win the Democratic presidential primary, and former President Donald Trump is projected to win the Republican. Here are the latest numbers in the Democratic race. With 56% of the votes in, President Joe Biden is leading with a 93% margin over Democrat Dean Phillips. The Maine Democratic Party congratulated President Joe Biden this evening. The Maine Democratic Party chair saying in part,
"It's been 6 years since a massive explosion and fire at the Superior refinery. Now, after $1 billion has been invested to rebuild it, the Superior economy is benefiting from it being back online." One might think a colorful new state flag could not be cause for controversy, but the new Minnesota state flag is stirring up a bunch of it. But first, on this Super Tuesday in American politics, projections showing President Joe Biden and Donald Trump winning Minnesota's presidential primaries tonight. The latest starting right now.
This is WDIO News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Darren Danielson. Yes, results have been pouring in across the country this Super Tuesday evening. The contenders in November's presidential election now all but solidified. Here in Minnesota, as expected, President Biden and former President Trump are projected to handily walk away with wins in their respective primaries here. Our William Lee.
Right now at 10, Target announces their plan to turn around sluggish sales.
So what's the retailer doing right? I'm Jennifer Hoff with a look at how Target is now expanding, and that includes a paid membership plan.
Well, another warm day tomorrow before we see some rain and even possibly some snowflakes. We'll time it out for you.
Then, strike averted. St. Paul teachers reach a tentative deal with the district.
But first, Super Tuesday results coming in here and across the country with 865 delegates up for grabs. Voters make their voices heard.
We are not exactly happy with the two-party system.
We have team coverage including how Minnesotans voted, how the push for uncommitted votes played out, plus expert analysis on how all of this will affect the race in November. The news starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. The polls are closed in Minnesota, and while totals are still coming in, the winners have been declared in the Minnesota presidential primaries. President Biden winning with 69% of the current time, with 56% reporting. The uncommitted vote in Minnesota, 20%. We'll talk about that. And then third, Dean Phillips with 8%.
On the Republican side tonight, former President Trump is the winner with 66% of the vote. Nikki Haley coming in second with 32%.
This is America. This is America.
The race for the White House heating up tonight with more than a dozen states around the country holding their primaries. We've got your back with a look at our state's results.
We want our city council to vote no on April 9th.
Plus, a proposed amphitheater getting some pushback. Why residents who live nearby don't want the project to move forward. State lawmakers considering a bill to regulate porn. The restrictions it aims to implement and why it's sparking a lot of debate from both sides of the aisle. The news starts right now.
The polls are closed and election results are coming in. Tonight, we're taking a look at the choices made by Oklahoma voters on this Super Tuesday. Oklahomans have picked their candidates for the presidential primaries, but first, let's break down some of the local questions some voters saw on their ballot today when it comes to their communities. The race for the White House, taxes, even liquor laws.
A lot on the line this Super Tuesday in Oklahoma.
But perhaps the biggest ballot bombshell
We scrambled when the first one was turned out.
coming out of Norman.
Voters once again saying no to OG&E. And the question, what happens next?
Brand new data rolling in this evening. The threat continues for Thursday and your newest timeline for damaging winds and hail.
A pickleball facility, we'll have a hotel, a few different restaurants, maybe a coffee shop.
And where this new hub of excitement and adventure will be located.
Live, local, late breaking. This is KOCO 5 News at 10.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this election night.
It is Super Tuesday. It is the biggest day of the primary calendar season.
And tonight we are bringing you the preliminary results. We have team coverage here in our state, all the way to our Washington bureau.
This system is bringing us soaking tomorrow. The hours for the heaviest rain and when it moves out.
A historic night in North Carolina, Mark Robinson becoming the first black person to be nominated for governor in the state. I'm live with the GOP winner's remarks.
A sweeping victory for Attorney General Josh Stein as he clinches his party's nomination for governor. Here his pledge to voters and his sharp words for his opponents.
WRAL's coverage of Super Tuesday starts right now. We're going to begin with the weather. Prepare for a wet morning commute because of this, a potent system heading our way for tomorrow morning.
Tonight at 11, it is Super Tuesday.
From the mountains to the coast, election workers are counting your votes right now. Where things stand at this hour and why it is taking longer than before to see election results.
Plus, we're hearing from you about what drove you to the polls.
It's important that every vote counts. Democracy is in trouble.
I'm just voting to give the fellow man a fighting shot.
Also, leaders in Matthews debate how the public should be able to comment after derogatory outbursts at a recent meeting. I'm Vanessa Rufus.
I'm Colin Mayfield. The news starts now.
And at this hour, NBC News and the Associated Press project that President Joe Biden has won the North Carolina Democratic presidential primary. The latest results here showing Biden with 88% of the vote, no preference coming in at 12%. For some context here, 2012 was the last primary with a Democrat as president. In that election, then President Obama saw a 20% uncommitted vote.
On the Republican side tonight, NBC News and the Associated Press project that former President Donald Trump has won the North Carolina Republican presidential primary. Many not surprised here. The latest results show that Trump with a 75% of that vote. You can see Nikki Haley has 23% of the vote.
So we don't have to be hyper-partisan to still get things done and stand up for your values.
I have a proven track record.
We have been moving throughout this state in a real way.
I want to make sure that that lived experience is represented in the Senate.
This is what you see the divide in the party right now.
I'm honestly not concerned about it. I believe I did the right thing.
I'm confident that people will believe the truth.
and I think my values better reflect the values of this conservative district.
I am going to be out campaigning for Texas House members that will not support Dave Bill.
This is the nastiest, most negative campaign I've seen in Texas legislative history.
It has been a night already. Welcome into CBS News Texas. It's great to have you. Texas politics center stage tonight as primary election results begin to pour in. Thank you for joining us for our special coverage on this Super Tuesday.
And it has been super. At this hour, we are sharing the latest numbers for you minute by minute for all of the races that matter to you.
And
you're watching the South Texas News Leader. This is 3 News at 10.
In the late news tonight, the numbers are in. A rundown of election results for this Super Tuesday. We've got live reports with the candidates on the way for you.
Plus, a family's plea for answers tonight after their son, a Texas A&M Corpus Christi student, is reported missing. Tonight, the university releasing a statement on the search.
And another opportunity for residents of the Calallen and Robstown areas to speak their minds over a proposed ammonia plant going up in their area. We'll hear from them.
Hi, I'm Alan Holt, and we hit a record high temperature in the middle 90s here this afternoon. If you don't like the heat, dialing up a cold front into the weekend. We'll discuss that straight ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us into your home. I'm Rudy Trevino.
And I'm Leslie Adamy. At the top for us tonight, results coming in tonight for Super Tuesday to see who Texans pick to be on the ballot for the general election next fall.
Tonight at 10, the 2024 presidential race comes to the Mid-South. Democrats and Republicans choosing who they want as their party's nominee. We're live with statewide and local results and analysis from our Otis Sanford.
Also at 10, caught on camera, new details on the high school basketball brawl that had Shelby County deputies evacuating the gym and using pepper spray.
The latest on that deadly plane crash in Nashville, where we're learning more about how the small plane went down in a ball of fire just 60 feet off of I-40.
And why when it comes to the Memphis Grizzlies, it's more of a question of who isn't injured than who is.
It's 10 o'clock and ABC 24 News at 10 starts right now. It is Super Tuesday, but what's so super about it? Tonight we have team coverage on the latest results and what tonight means as the U.S. gets ready to elect a new president. Thanks for joining us. I'm Richard Ransom.
And I'm Pepper Baker. No other day on the 2024 election calendar has more states picking their party's nominee for president than there are tonight. In fact, there are.
Keeping you safe, informed, connected. This is News Channel 5 at 10.
Well, voters in Tennessee have spoken on this Super Tuesday, choosing their party's candidate for the upcoming presidential election. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston. Former President Donald Trump has won our state's Republican primary, topping his only serious challenger, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. Trump taking 76% of the votes. President Biden winning Tennessee's Democratic primary, also with no serious challengers. Some Democrats chose not to vote for Mr. Biden as a protest of his handling of the Israel-Hamas war, 7% voting uncommitted.
CBS 6 News at 11 starts now.
Polls have closed in a majority of states with Super Tuesday contest, and that includes here in Virginia. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Janine Samuel.
And I'm Julie Bragg. More than 1/3 of delegates are up for grabs as voters cast their ballots for who they want to be the Democratic and Republican nominees for president.
It's primary night in Virginia. We're live with team coverage as the current and previous presidents continue their march to a rematch.
Plus, with this November shaping up to be a repeat of the one 4 years ago, hear how both major parties are feeling about the race for the White House.
And a closer look at how your vote made a difference. We'll have a full breakdown of the numbers from the Richmond area as Virginians make their voices heard.
This is 12 on your side.
It's the biggest day of the primary season. Voters in more than a dozen states, including right here in Virginia, deciding who they want to see at the top of the ticket in November.
We have live.